Welcome to Lock It Down Sports. I'm your host, Locke Hoover, and I look forward to joining you and talking with you as I'm just now excited to be joining E5280 Sports. Look forward to talking with you about once a week as I get started on this platform and this network. I'm excited about it. Look forward to it. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on Twitter. We're going to get into it. Tonight, what we're going to get into is some rich man problems. I'll explain what that is for rich man's problems, and it's a good spot to be. How NIL is affecting something I don't think we really expected. And we're going to get into how the NFL is upset about something. I'll tell you what that is later in the show as well. And then we're going to get into a little bit of a battle here later on in the show. But first, I want to get into what the 12-team playoff, college football playoff, will look like. It's going to be the top four conference champs get a first-round bye, and then the fifth conference champ will get in, i.e., whether it's the top Sunbelt team, the MAC, the Mountain West, Conference USA, etc. Also, the Power Four conferences get a bye, and then the highest ranked conference champ from a non-Power 5 conference. That's your guaranteed 5 schools that are getting in. Then it's the top 7 ranked schools after that, which is great. That's how the setup should be. No rules on how many teams from each conference could get in. So if it's the next 7 ranked schools or the SEC, the next 7 schools in the playoffs or the SEC, or the Big Ten, if it's 3 Big Ten, 4 SEC, that's how the rest of the playoff format is going to look. It's pretty clean, it's pretty clear, and it's pretty simple, and it's very straightforward to me. Absolutely. Now, people asked, hey, question here, right here. What about Notre Dame? Well, what about them? Can they have the playoffs? Oh, of course they can go to the playoffs. What if they're undefeated? Well, that's, you know what, Notre Dame, congratulations. You're undefeated, but the highest you can be seeded is 5th. People might say, well, that's not fair. They're undefeated, and they can the highest seed they can get is 5th. Well, to me, it's fair. Want to know why? One, finally they recognized and have acknowledged they're not bending the rules for Notre Dame, and they've acknowledged that they're not special. They can join a conference. Simple as that. Any of the 4 conferences would love to have Notre Dame in a heartbeat. ACC, SEC, Big Ten, Big 12. Every last one of those conferences would love to have Notre Dame join them. And it would be easy as that for Notre Dame to have a 1 through 4 seed if they are good enough to get in the playoffs. Another thing with that, they also play 1 less game. Yeah, they're undefeated, but they don't have to go. So you're telling me an undefeated Notre Dame should get in because they don't have to play a Georgia or an Alabama or an Ohio State or Oregon in a conference championship game. They get a free pass because we've all know what Notre Dame does in big games. We've seen it for the last, 10 years plus? They can't win them. They haven't won a BCS game, and they haven't won a playoff game. They lose in big games. So that's another thing, too. They shouldn't get a free ride because they played 1 less game and they think they're special because they're not in a conference. They're not special, which is good, and I'm glad the commissioners and the presidents and the committee and the decision makers said, suck it up, Buttercup. Sorry. And that's really what it comes down to, which is good. That's fair. If you ask me, that's fair. And there's solutions for it, Notre Dame. All you got to do is say, okay. Instead, you go kick your feet back and take all the money from the NBC TV contract that you have. Well, there's the plus and minus of that. Now, another thing that really disappoints me, with obviously the 12-team playoff, not a fan of that to begin with. But there is already talk, which is insane, about a potential 14-team playoff that could begin in 2026. Can we at least see how much of a disaster the 12-team playoff is before we get even broach the idea of a 14-team playoff? I mean, I wish Saturdays would matter. It's eliminated some Saturdays for a 12-team playoff. Now, if it goes to a 14-team playoff, there's 3 or 4 or 5 Saturdays that don't even really matter. Oh, who cares? They're getting in anyway. Whatever. Alabama lost to LSU. They end up having one loss, or they're both 10-2. So what? They'll probably get in. Wow, that game in Tuscaloosa or Death Valley really mattered, right? We'll see in a few weeks or a month. Whatever. That's the excitement, right? I mean, like college basketball now. Like, for example, Auburn, Tennessee last night. Know that game mattered? No, not really. They're both getting in the tournament. They're both going to be top 4 seeds. Maybe that because Tennessee won against Auburn, they're going to be a 1 seed now. Auburn's still going to be a top 4 seed in the tournament, in the NCAA tournament, and have a good chance to win the Natty, just like Tennessee. I mean, that game yesterday, it's like, oh, cool. I want my team to win, but all right, if they lose, darn, that's too bad. Hopefully they're up for snuff and they play when it counts in the NCAA basketball tournament. Yeah, all right. That was my thought. Like this week, Tennessee, I think they'll split. They had Auburn, took care of Auburn at home. They go to Tuscaloosa. They might lose that one. If they lose it, it's all right. Well, that's too bad. They're still fine. They're okay. That's how some college football Saturdays are going to be, which is sad. It really is, especially the 12-team, even more so with a 14-team playoff. Now, this is nothing to shrug your shoulders about, as I just was earlier. And we're just talking about the Atlanta Braves starting rotation battle. And you can say, Locke, how's there a starting rotation battle when Bryce Elder was an all-star last year as the 5th starter? You're actually telling me there's a battle? Yeah, there is. And that's what Anthopoulos likes to build on with his rotation, depth and options. And that's what it's really about with Ronaldo Lopez and Bryce Elder. Those are your 2 5th starters battling for it. Now, Lopez's last season as a starter was 2019. He had a 5.38 ERA in 184 innings. Since then, he's been good out of the pen, no doubt. Been good bullpen arm. And he's put up good numbers, and that's why I think ultimately the Braves signed him to a 3-year deal, and he got a 3-year deal with the Braves after he was with the White Sox. Elder had a 3.81 ERA in 174 and 2/3 innings last year. As a whole, that's pretty doggone good. But here's the concerning part that the Braves are looking further into and why there really is a battle. He had a 4.95 ERA his last 20 starts. Yeah, he had some good starts in there, but also obviously some bad ones that really blew up his ERA in the second half. Also, what's going against Bryce Elder is the fact that he's got minor league options. It's one of those things that say it's a blessing and a curse with Bryce Elder because he's got options. And the Braves want to extend Lopez out to give him as a potential long guy, or at least build up some of his innings in spring training to potentially start. Now they don't need a fifth starter until the fourth or fifth series against the Mets or Marlins, to kind of depending on what they want to do with those two series due to all their off days that they have to be in the year. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to give Lopez the nod to start the year as a fifth starter. Now, how they work him in is another question. Does he come in, starting the sixth, seventh? He just throw the sixth and seventh and eighth innings when maybe that first time around the rotation they're only going five and a third, maybe 6 innings. He comes in, throws the sixth and the seventh, eighth, ninth. He probably won't. If it's a safe situation, they're probably going Iglesias. But I could see him throwing 2 to 3 innings to try to help him stay stretched out. But then that's that fine balance there. Like I said, Elder's got options. So you get him throwing on regular rest in Gwinnett, because I think and I believe he's going to be the fifth starter for majority of the season. And maybe it kind of helps him juggle his innings a little bit so he doesn't get worn down. He said, and it's proven, wow, this is the most innings I've ever thrown in my life. My life at the big league level. He didn't throw this many innings even in the minors, and hasn't. And I don't think him getting sent to AAA will phase Bryce Elder. Yeah, I think he'll be a little bit pissed. But the same thing happened last year. He was sent down to Gwinnett for one start, was in the big leagues the rest of the year. So that's where I see basically the fifth starter battle going. Yeah, there's other fifth starters kind of going at it, options, and Darius Vines, Dylan Dodd, A.J. Smith-Sawyer, and Hurston Waldrop. Now, all these guys, or I'd say a good portion of these guys, are going to get innings. It's, okay, Fried, we're going to give you a blow. We're going to give you a IL stint of a 15-day, give you a little bit of breather. Even if he's just nicked up, Braves aren't going to take chances because they know you're going to be in good shape. We need you healthy for the playoffs. We're not going to push you. We've got good depth in the minors. Sale needs a blow. Charlie Morton, he's not getting any younger. He's 40. Any of those guys get nicked up, they're going to put him on the IL, and Vines is going to be your guy, I think. The first one caught up, if he's has a decent spring training and a strong, even solid first few starts in Gwinnett. Dodd, hopefully we don't have to see him very much. He needs to continue to develop. I'm sure we will at some point. He'll get some innings, maybe a spot start, nothing extensive. A.J. Smith-Sawyer, I love him. I love what I saw from him in his few starts. Hard thrower, long-term, I like him in this Braves rotation. He's not there yet. He needs to continue to develop, work on his location, continue to work on things. Hurston Waldrop, first-round pick last year, made it all the way up to AAA. Nasty stuff. They raved about his splitter, his changeup, got working the fastball command. Things of those like a slider, curveball as well. So 4-pitch mix, oobs of potential. Needs to continue to develop. And then, you've got others. Ian Anderson, come back from Tommy John, won't be better until July. Hopefully we don't see him at all, so the Braves can develop another year of service time for him, which is big, not knowing what next year's going to be. Freed, I hope he stays. I think he's gone. Charlie Morton, he's 40. Probably going to retire. Right there, that's 2 spots open. 2 spots right there, just like that. Hopefully there's no other injuries. But, going into next year, you've got guaranteed 2 open spots. So you need them and you want them to continue to develop and be ready and comfortable when their name is called. And that's really what you got to do. Them continue to build and grow to be ready when their time is called. And then you've got Roskar Noah. Is he going to throw in AAA, or is they going to go straight out of the bullpen? I could see him being a starter and continue to develop innings and work hard. Maybe that third pitch, maybe he's an option. And then you got Alan Wines, who older guy, pitched a little bit for Atlanta last year. Did actually decent, but he's not a long-term guy. He's a guy that uses options up and down, and then you see what happens with him. So he's not a priority at all. He's just a guy that can maybe help you get through the season, the next few years, because he's going to have options to go up and down, which is a nice thing when you're in the Braves organization, especially where they're at right now. Now, speaking of where we're at right now, this was not something I don't think people expected. And that is when it comes to NIL and the effect that it's having on coaches. The amount of head coaches leaving for coaching positions, or NFL coordinator jobs, or just position coaching jobs all at once. That is not something I think anybody expected to see in this NIL era. Yeah, the kids jumping around. Yeah, that was expected. Coaches downgrading their so-called position. Yeah, that's happened a lot more, such as Chip Kelly. When was the last time he was an offensive coordinator? I don't know. I can't think of the last time he was offensive coordinator, being now the head coach at UCLA, going to Ohio State to be the offensive coordinator. It's like, whoa. Huh. I mean, you're at UCLA. You can do things at UCLA. I mean, you've got options. There's money out there. It's LA, obviously. You're about to go to the Big Ten. There's all kinds of options and money there for you to do stuff in the NIL era and time, being in Southern California. Yeah, you got to fight with USC, but you've always battled USC. So that one kind of shocked me a little bit. This other one surprised me too. Sean Elliott, Georgia State head coach, he did a pretty solid job at Georgia State. So it's like, oh, what coordinating position did he go to? No. He went to become a running backs coach at South Carolina. A running backs coach. He went from a head coach at a G5 school to running backs coach. It's usually positioning. It's the old way has been positions coach, offensive or defensive coordinator, head coach at a smaller school and then you work your way up to being a head coach at a bigger school, right? It's like, no, you become the head coach at South Carolina after a good run at Georgia State. No, he's going to be a running backs coach at South Carolina. Now, we've seen these position moves a lot too, and these aren't as surprising to me. Jerry Mack, Tennessee running backs coach, a fast riser, good recruiting. Now the running backs coach for the Jaguars in the NFL. Now, not very surprising to me in the fact that it's a better life, better lifestyle. You don't have to recruit. You don't have to convince 18-year-old kids to come play for you and, oh, yeah, we're going to give you $300,000. But, coach, this guy over here got $500,000 at Auburn. Okay, well, what we can offer you is $450,000. That's where we're at with you. Colin, we'd love for you to come here. I can see that pitch getting old, being on the road, always recruiting. In the NFL, you don't have to worry about that. You can go coach, look at film, and then you get off time. Yeah, you might make, I don't know, $150,000 less salary-wise, but it's a better life and easier on you, especially with if you got family, you're married, kids, all that, way easier. Now, this one kind of caught me a little bit off guard too, but also I get where he's coming from when he quotes this, when his quote I'm about to read here a little bit later. So Jeff Hafley was a head coach at Boston College. He did a good job at Boston College. Not an easy place to win. He was solid there at BC. He went to be the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, Hafley's had a lot of NFL experience as a coordinator, as a position coach, but he finally becomes a head coach. He gets to run things his way. Here's what he said. College coaching has become fundraising, NIL, and recruiting your own team and transfers. There's no time to coach football anymore. Very true, but kind of a little bit of a, whoa, staggering statement there of, I got into college coaching and coaching to coach. Not tell the kid we've got $500,000 for you to catch touchdown passes from our quarterback or throw touchdown passes to our receivers. And I can see that with all these coaches, they get tired of recruiting and re-recruiting their own players. That's got to be exhausting. And from a head coaching position, let's just take Sean Elliott in this example, head coach at a smaller school. He recruits and finds a hidden gem, the overlooked guy that Georgia State, Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, other schools didn't recruit. He goes to Georgia State. He plays well for 2 years, enters the portal, and then where's he at? Georgia, Florida, Auburn, South Carolina, Tennessee, Ohio State, Oregon, getting a lot more NIL than he ever would have gotten at Georgia State. And from that perspective, I get it. If you're a Coca-Cola, they're home of where in Atlanta, Georgia State's in downtown Atlanta, but Coke's better return of their investment would be to invest in a Georgia Tech or a University of Georgia player. That's simple, easy business. That's not hard. That's not complex or tricky to even think about or consider from a business perspective. So they want to go get paid from that car dealership in Tuscaloosa. Makes sense, and I get it. And that's the and I get how tough that is. Now, this is a very there's a good quote tweet and from Brett McMurphy, good college football analyst and reporter and writer that you should follow if you're a college football fan. And here's what he tweeted. Since the end of the season, 2 college head coaches left for the NFL, 2 more took lesser titles at other universities, and 26 football assistants took NFL jobs. Also, Dennis Dodd, he's another good reporter and good follow as well. Also, he quotes him in his tweet as well. Dodd reported that 40% of college coaches' moves occurred despite a reduction in title. Yeah. That right there has NIL written all over it. And I don't think it's something most of us really expected or even saw coming when it comes to NIL. Now, I don't see this. I didn't see this coming either. It kind of surprised me. Not about college football and the NCAA playoffs, but it has to do with that in the NFL. The NFL is unhappy. Why are they unhappy? Who knows? They're unhappy because the first round of the college football playoffs was going to be on December 20th and 21st. They're fine with it being on the 20th. That's not the issue. It's the 21st that they're disgruntled about. Why are they unhappy? I really don't know, because in 2023, they had 28 of the top 30 most watched TV shows and the top 14, with the 15th being the Oscars. They had the top 14, top 20, 28 of the top 30 most watched TV shows and programs in 2023. And I quote, the NFL believes the NCAA was encroaching on their turf, i.e. the NFL's turf, with the argument that college football is encroaching on their territory of the Saturday, the 21st. Which makes me laugh. It really does. Because it's like, hold up, time out here. The college football can make that exact same argument, right? Because there's an NFL game on Black Friday this year. Where's the outrage there? That used to be a basically designated college football day, but there's a loophole, and know what the NFL did? We're going to take advantage of it. It used to be Texas A&M, sometimes Mississippi State. Sometimes it was an LSU Ole Miss. All kinds of college football games. Arizona State, Oregon State have all played on Black Friday before, sometimes Saturday. They're rivalry weeks. That's right there during rivalry week. Black Friday. I didn't hear the outrage. I didn't see the issue there with anybody. There's no outrage. There's no, oh my bad, I'm sorry response, apology from the NFL. There's none of that. Also, what about Thursday Night Football? That used to be Florida State, Louisville, Georgia, Florida State, these ACC, Big East ACC matchups, Big East, shall I say, matchups on a Thursday. Swoops the NFL and NFL Network, Thursday Night Football. Here we are. Where's the outrage there from everybody? Where's the apology there from the NFL? Huh? I didn't hear one. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see an apology on their end either. So I don't know. I mean, if you're unhappy, you don't have to go play your games on Saturday anymore. Once the college football season's done. The college football is trying to sadly look like you, NFL, with a 12-team playoff and potentially the 14-team playoff. They're ruining college football to try to look like you, the NFL. But yet you're unhappy because of them. because they're trying to take a couple million, $500,000 away from you, ad dollars away from you. That I feel like that's really why they're pissed about it. Really. But here's the thing. I don't think it'll affect the NFL in the ratings at all. At all. So why are they really worried about it other than they might lose $500,000 on something? Yeah, I like both. I like the NFL. I love college football. I'm going to watch the playoff games first and foremost, no doubt about it. But say the first round, which I would guess it will be a first round game on a Saturday, would be in Ohio State. Say it's in Ohio State and Liberty, or Georgia Liberty, or Bama Liberty, Notre Dame Liberty. I'm just using the Liberty example since they were the group of 5 team this year. That game could get ugly. It could. You watch the first half and it's like, all right, well, X team's taking it to Liberty. Time to go over watching the NFL. No, the NFL might not get that full ratings block, but they would get half of it. You can stagger times if you want to. You can play with the time so you don't miss it. So your fan base, NFL fans that like college and pro, wouldn't miss it. That's very easy. Yeah, there's might be some overlap, but that's happened before. It's not like overlaps anything new. I mean, the NFL is going to get theirs regardless. They really are, because everybody wants to be partnered and wants to get a piece of the NFL. Every network and affiliation wants to be in business with the NFL. And if they want it, they're going to get it. We've seen it time and time again. The NFL wants it. It gets it. It finds a way. It doesn't care. Now, something I do not care about, because it's interesting to see how it's going to be, but I'm not interested in these major media companies joining, and Walt Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers joining to create a sports streaming service. So what are they getting? They're getting ESPN and all of its family networks. So ESPN, ESPN2, SEC, and ACC networks, ESPNU as well. ABC, network, Fox, TNT, True, TBS, Big Ten. So that's what you're getting. I love sports. That's really still, these options and offers don't really appeal to me, because if your other streaming services such as Hulu or Fubo or YouTube TV or Sling get all those channels, which they all do, they all do. There might, of course, there's a few differences in each what they get, but they get them. So why would I subscribe to an all sports option? I mean, and the funny thing too is, to me, if the pitch is an all sports streaming service or sports streaming service, why isn't it all sports? Why don't you get all sports? That's your pitch. That's your streaming service. You still don't get NBC and CBS. So you're not getting some NFL games. You're not getting the other side of the conference NFL games. NBC, you're not getting the Olympics every 4 years. CBS, you're not getting golf. You're not getting the Final Four. Yeah, you're getting some NCAA tournament games on True, TNT, and what's the other one? TBS. But You're not getting the Final Four on Fox. You're not getting that. And you're also, I think this is a big deal to people. It is to me. You're not getting regional sports. You're not getting your local Braves, Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, Cardinals, etc. Your basketball, you're not getting your Timberwolves, your Hawks, your Nuggets, your Mavericks. You're not getting your local hockey either. You're not getting your Predators, your Carolina Hurricanes, your Blackhawks. You're not getting any of that because that's all local. How's that fit into the parameters of the sports streaming service? I think there's big question marks at how successful this all sports streaming service is going to be. I do. I think that one of the big questions would be the price point. If it's $20, which I don't see happening, then it's okay. I've got some. I don't have Netflix. I don't have Netflix, but it's okay. Netflix, $20, and streaming service, $20. Sports streaming service, okay. There's my $40. It's still cheaper than Fubo, Hulu, YouTube TV, Sling. I don't see it going that direction. I could see it in the $50, $55 range. That's kind of the projection of what it's going to be. Then you might be, but if you have other streaming services and entertainment, you're still not really cutting your cost. It's 50, so you get 50, and then say it's $50. What is Netflix? Say it's is Netflix 10, 15 bucks? What is it now? 15 or 20 bucks? I think they're going up. Say Netflix is $20. You're right around $70. What are you really saving? Unless it's I don't watch TV, but I miss my live sports. I want to watch my live sports, so I have whatever streaming or cable service it is. Or it's okay, I've got all the streaming services. This is just another add-on. I've got my Netflix, I've got my Disney Plus, and I've got now this sports streaming service because I like sports. I want to watch sports. So there's a lot of, I think, moving parts that still haven't been figured out yet when it comes to this this streaming service. And it's going to be interesting to watch if it is fully successful. I know Fubo TV just filed a lawsuit against them for like infringement and that sort of thing. So we'll see what happens with that in the courts, if that prevents them, or maybe it takes them a little bit longer than expected to get this sports streaming service up and rolling. So a lot of interesting moving parts when it comes to the continued battles known as the streaming wars. And it's always ever evolving and changing, because in 2 years it could be something completely different, because that's where we're at with these media companies. And I still don't know yet if it's a good thing or bad thing when it comes to the consumer and the price. I mean, yeah, there's options, but $10 here, $15 there, $20 there, $50 there. It's like, oh, well, I have all these services, and it's like, wow, I'm paying $100 now when I went to streaming because it's supposed to be cheaper. That was, the original thing of getting rid of cable. Well, that's obviously not the case now. If some people, you add up all your streaming service, like, geez, look at this. So we'll see what happens when it comes to the the thing of streaming. As always, you can follow me at Twitter at LockItUpMedia. That's LockItUpMedia on Twitter. You can also find me at E5280 Sports. E5280 Sports. Check out all the other podcasts and shows on the network. Talk to you next week.